and welcome to the Lapani Tech Podcast. I am your host, Brandon Lapani, and what a wonderful show I have for you today. This is the first show of the new year here. Haven't really done much posting or anything on the site since holiday broke, so glad to be back here, and quite a bit's happened in tech, and also too, we're going to get to some questions you guys have, and also too, I want to apologize right off the bat for the audio quality. I know it's just a bit of an echo right now in the thing. We actually have a broken microphone right now. We're actually working on trying to get it fixed. Actually, another one. I think it's the cable. Or another cable off eBay. So forgive us if the audio quality isn't what it should be. We're actually using a kind of an old school microphone here, so I do apologize for that right off the bat. But we'll do the best we can here and try to get this audio problem taken care of as soon as we can. So let's see. And by the way, we got a lot of questions from everybody and stuff like that about but a lot of things going on in tech and stuff like that. So I want to get to that. Let's see, what do we have as far as the tech news go? Well, we have the one story that I wanted to share actually was trending this morning on on Yahoo, and it was also trending on Reddit, like 2,000 up clicks. Was the guy apparently had a stolen iPhone. Apparently him and his band were working a gig in New York City, and he left his iPhone actually in the cab, and apparently some guy took it and was using his OkCupid account to attract women for sort of not such nice things. So he ended up calling the police and all that type of stuff, and they said they were going to look at it and they were going to investigate it, but I guess he got tired of waiting around, so he actually started another account as a woman, I believe, called Jennifer, and he said it was a 27-year-old, and he actually kind of targeted it, the OkCupid profile towards this guy, and I guess actually took the liberty of actually luring this guy to his house. Anybody that came over for some wine or something like that, and he would get rewarded. So the guy drove over, and he had a friend of his there, and he also had a hammer in his hand too. The guy came in, he handed the guy $20 and said, here's the reward for giving me back my iPhone. And the guy left. Apparently no legal prosecution or anything that was done, but not exactly the best way to go about getting your iPhone back, but I kind of get what he did there. So, obviously there are programs out there like Find My iPhone and stuff like that if you're interested in trying to get your iPhone back if you've lost it or something like that. But that was actually one trending stories today. I just thought it was something I wanted to bring up because I thought that was quite interesting. And the thing that was sad too was he said that ever since he opened the account, he had over like 20 or some people try to contact him. So I mean, OkCupid. eHarmony, that's actually where I met my fiance actually, and Match.com, they're pretty decent sites, because you have to pay to be on them. They've kind of cleaned them up a lot. I don't know if anybody remembers, back in the 90s, dating sites were just horrible. I mean, it was really, really bad. So, most of them are cleaned up pretty much now, and most of them have iPhone or Android apps nowadays, but they're they've cleaned them up a lot. I don't recommend any of the free ones. I would stick with the paid ones just to keep the creepers off of there. So that was something I wanted to bring up today on the podcast, just so everybody knows. You want to be careful, especially with these online dating sites. You never know. There's some other stuff, I guess, since we're talking about the internet and safety and all that type of stuff. There's the article I just read the other day saying that the Indian government is actually wiretapping BlackBerry. Actually wiretapping BlackBerry devices and all that type of stuff, and I was kind of shocked at that actually. That they were actually started wiretapping, but I guess that's something kind of common nowadays with all this stuff with the Patriot Act and all that type of stuff. It's kind of common, but it's just one of those things where they've started on the BlackBerry network, and I'm sure they're going to work their way over to the iPhone. And the Droid if they haven't already yet. I know they're already watching text messages and stuff like that. So, One of the other things is there's a 0-day vulnerability in the Symantec PGP whole disk encryption. That's kind of a neat one. I just wanted to read that one. I wanted to kind of read that article to everybody here. It was posted on December 25th, so it is a little bit old, but claiming that the kernel driver distributed with the Symantec PGP desktop contains a memory overwrite vulnerability affecting versions of software desktop. Through a blog post, Symantec confirmed that the potential issue, but it cannot easily be exploited. Vulnerability is limited to systems running Windows XP or 2003 only. The attacker would need to locate access to a vulnerable computer to exploit this vulnerability. It's not so much of it's something if you have XP or 2003 server running or, XP desktop, something you need to worry about. I would just keep an eye on things. Some of the other things, too, that I've been reading about as well, is some of the people that are sniffing. Everybody's been sniffing passwords to use. That's something new, but a lot of people have been sniffing for actually on DMZs now. DMZ, actually, if those of you that don't know, are kind of like no man's land. It's kind of where you subnet your servers that face the outside world, so nobody can get into your internal network. It's not like you're natting in IP addresses or anything like you would on a home router. This is on commercial grade stuff. Even some of the lower end, Junipers have DMZ technology built in, actually, which is surprising. For $200-300 router, you actually get a DMZ. For some of the smaller businesses and some of the home use stuff. So it's actually not bad. But I've found a lot of people are sniffing DMZs for email and unencrypted passwords and stuff. People have been sniffing for years, but that's fact that people actually finding there's actually ways now to sniff to find that if you're on a DMZ, and then you can sniff that DMZ a certain way and get the information you're looking for. So if you're running a DMZ, it's not as safe as it used to be. One of the other things too is the Google, PayPal, and Facebook internal IP disclosure vulnerability. That's when you have internal IP addresses or a private IP address, signed to multiple, multinational companies, you really have to, disclosure of internal IP addresses like 192s or 172s. Not many big companies, and I've said this to people before, not many big companies are going to run 192s. Most of your smaller companies, obviously because 192 doesn't have as much of an octet as, say, a 10 network does. But, you can, if you're running a 192 or a 172, you can really be impacted. Most security researchers call this a BS vulnerability, but it's been brought up enough and stuff like that. So it's really mostly for the internet giants like Facebook, Google, PayPal. People like organizations like the FBI, Pentagon, and NASA. They're saying that you can exploit internal IP addresses remotely from the way their sites are designed. So I don't know if I believe all that either. Reading up on it, I've noticed that there was, it's basically for those things that are natted in, stuff like that. You can see the internal IP address. If you're natted in and you're not masking your web address, you're going to run into an issue like that. So I wouldn't really too much worry about it. I don't think it's really going to be. I think it's information that needs to be protected, but I don't think it's anything that's going to be major. Anything major as far as that goes. One of the things that I really wanted to bring up, and everybody knows me being a big Linux guy, was it was that Red Hat patched multiple web application vulnerabilities. Fixed multiple that allowed it fixed issues that allowed hackers to extract website databases using blind SQL injection. Red Hat also confirms a cross-scripting vulnerability that they're working on as well. You should have that passed in the next round. Blind SQL injection, for those that don't know, is basically identical to a normal SQL injection, except that there are the attacker attempts to exploit an application rather than getting a useful error message. So it's a little bit different, for the most part. But they get a generic page specified by the developer instead, and it kind of makes it a little more, because normally with SQL injection attacks will throw you back an error, so what kind of SQL they're using and stuff like that. So it's a little bit different. There's not a lot of technical details available on it, unfortunately, yet, but I'm sure it'll come out as time goes on. The other thing I want to talk about too is is Ubuntu is actually going to have a smartphone available. I thought that was kind of neat. Apparently, from what I've been reading on this, it apparently runs on the kernel of same thing as the Android. You're going to be able to load it pretty quick. I know when they debuted the phone a couple days ago, when they released it not so long ago, it was they were really, they showed it on the Galaxy S3. I'm sorry, I'm just stuttering here a little bit. They debuted on the Galaxy S3. Apparently, from what I've seen, I mean, it's not going to be out till, they said, late 2013, early 2014. But from what I've seen, it looks like it definitely could have potential in the phone market. Apparently, they've already got some application support for it, and they've already got some other things lined up with it. So I think it could be potential. They're saying some of the benefits are a single OS for your phone, PC, and TV. That kind of it kind of scares me a little bit, because we saw how well that's working with Windows 8. Windows 8's struggling to barely, sell, a lot, to barely sell any copies. So I would be curious to see, what, how, I see they're taking the same approach. A lot of people are trying to follow the Apple model, but it doesn't seem to be working very well for them. One thing we've talked about, I don't know if we've talked about it a little bit here or there, is the, Microsoft's whole, concept of how they do licensing. It's basically like a bear anymore. It's a dinosaur almost. Most people are giving away software and then charging for support. I think it's kind of the way the industry is going. But it'd be interesting to see where that goes. But getting off track here a little bit. The other thing, the other benefit they're talking about this Ubuntu phone is going to be a fast, beautiful interface for every level of smartphone, unique PC experience. Docked with monitor, keyboard, and mouse. I think they're trying to do basically what Droid's been trying to do with making a desktop that'll, something you can dock and then use it as a PC as well as a phone. I mean, we need to see how this goes. Like I said, it won't be available, until early, late this year, or early next year. I would aim more for 2014 if you're looking for it. Like I said, they're already saying it's going to be on Samsung, Galaxy devices. The Nexus probably be released, probably be the first release. That's going to be, so be curious to see how that that all works out for them. I think it could definitely be a good thing. Let's see, what else do we have in the news here today? The other thing that I wanted as far as security goes, is the Internet Explorer 678 vulnerability to remote code execution. That's something fairly, it came out last Friday. It was actually reported. Microsoft has published a security advisory against it, warning users of Internet Explorer 6, 7, and 8 that they could be vulnerable to remote code execution hacks. The vulnerability exists. Internet Explorer, it's basically an object in the memory that has been, deleted and can be properly, allocated. So the vulnerability may, corrupt memory in a way that allows an attacker to, execute arbitrary code. But meanwhile, the software giant, it's shipping, it's still shipping, like software to. They're not shipping software. They have a hot fix for it. The Fix-It Solution Center, for those of you that are interested in that. One of the things I thought was funny was the other day I was trying to access Twitpics. That's funny. Google Chrome actually blocks Twitpics as malware. I thought that was hysterical. Google's fixed it since then, but it was kind of funny. Oh, let's see. Let's see what else we have here that I have brought up here for the show notes. One of the things that we don't talk about cameras a lot on this show, but one of the things I thought was neat was the Samsung NX300 mirrorless camera. I'm reading a lot on this. Let me tell you, it's really amazing. It's got Wi-Fi connections. You can actually shoot things in 3D. It's definitely, it actually looks kind of old school, but it's actually really an interesting phone, to say the least. It's so many different features. It's 20.3 megapixels. It helps with the light automatically. Auto adjust. It can actually the shutter speed is actually 1/6000th of a second. Which is incredible. it's definitely something different that we haven't seen yet. So I really, I think it's great, and it's the Samsung 45 millimeter is, they said, is the it's equipped with that, and as you know, it sells for almost $600. You can shoot video, snapshots, still photos, 3D. I mean, it's really great, and with the lenses too, you can even switch the lenses and shoot in 2D. It's really great. And it's only going to be at one point. They say it's only going to be. It's going to come in March, and it's going to have almost. It's going to be $750 roughly. So, it's going to have it's going to be paired with a 20 to 50 millimeter lens. Plus, as a bonus with it, you get the Adobe Lightroom, that's a couple $100 in itself right there. So it really is really good. I'd recommend it for any, if anybody's looking to get into, do anything with cameras and that lately. Let's switch routes here. Talk about Apple here for a minute. iPhone 5S, by the way, has been rumored to be coming out. With multiple colors and sizes and stuff. So that was a neat rumor. I actually just purchased the other day, 27-inch iMac. My computer at home kind of died. 8 years, I got my money's worth out of it, believe me. But I have an iMac, I have a MacBook Pro for my laptop and traveling for my business and stuff. But for my home, I wanted a computer, especially with the blog and stuff. I wanted a screen with a Retina display and clarity and all that type of stuff, and podcasting and all that. So I got a 27-inch iMac, 8 gigs of RAM, Retina display, terabyte hard drive. So, I think it was definitely a good investment. I'll get quite a few years out of it. So, but the iPhone 5S is coming out, and it's going to be in multiple colors and sizes. That I've kind of gotten away from the iPhones as of late, to tell you the truth. I've kind of become more of an Android person, but Apple is. I'm sure they could. I'm sure it'll be something. It'll be worth it. One of the things too, I was actually, when I was shopping, switching tracks here, when I was shopping for a computer, it was kind of neat. I went to was looking at the looking at computers, and I was looking at Windows 8, and I'm going to tell you, I've messed with it a little bit. I'm not that impressed with it. It's a tablet OS. It's not meant for the desktop. So, I know there are plugins and stuff like that you can have. We talked about that last podcast that you can actually, plug in and, can actually, use for, you can actually use for, get your old start menu back and stuff like that. But I'm not really that impressed with it. I think it's basically Windows 7 with a different wrapper. I'd be curious to see what they're going to do with the Xbox. The Xbox has had that look and feel for a while now, but then that's kind of like a tablet OS. So, I just don't think. I think Microsoft, whatever they're coming out with in January with this Windows, they're really going to have a Windows 8 kind of like a desktop version, or they have kind of closed lip about it. But I'd be very curious to see what they're gonna come out with in January here, to see what they're going to do with revising the desktop, because I don't know anybody that's very satisfied with it for a desktop OS. People are already downloading stuff to make the old-fashioned start menu and the old-fashioned look and feel. So my recommendation is, unless you want something really really new, stick with your Windows 7 for right now. I think it still needs some work. But one of the things that they have been talking about is the world's first eye tracking PC. It's expected to launch in 2013. So we're curious to see what that's like. Oh, let's see what else. By the way, the one thing also too with Apple that I wanted to mention is from what I've been reading here, and again, they're only rumors. Apple may already be testing the new iPhone or in the iOS 7. So, we'll be curious to see what they come out with. I'm sure Apple, they're going to come out with something. One of the other things too, since talking about Apple devices and iPhone, is that the new Bluetooth sticker enhancement that'll the Bluetooth it ensures it's called stick and find. You actually stick this thing in your keys, and if you lose your keys, your iPhone actually turns into like a tracking device. So it's kind of neat. That was another thing, by the way, I saw the other day when I was going through tech stuff, looking at demos and stuff to try. So that's something if you're interested in. That if you lose your keys a lot and you have an iPhone, that's something you might be interested in. And the other thing that I thought was kind of neat as far as tech goes was the Toyota, the self-driving car. They entered into the the driverless car derby with that semi-driverless car vehicle that you can go that's kind of neat. Kind of controls itself. Kind of a neat kind of a concept, I thought. We'll see a lot of things going with that. I know Ford's been really with it, and working with the Apple and stuff like that to come up with like the driverless car. But here's what Toyota does. Let's see, what else do we have here to talk about? There's always bookmark stuff right before the show, so I know I have stuff to talk about the early beginning of it. One of the things, by the way, I just want to let you know, Barnes & Noble's, there's a review online. They actually reviewed their HD Plus, their own, the Nook. So it'll be neat to see. It's not bad for the price. I mean, rather than spending a ton of money on an iPhone, I definitely think it's worth the price. One of the things too, I would say, just recently I've been messing around with the iPhone. I got to tell you, one thing you have to be careful is that Google Maps. I mean, it puts Apple's maps to shame. It's kind of been disheartening, I guess, to see Apple, as far as their map line goes, really kind of falling behind a little bit. I mean, it's the first attempt at maps, but I think there was a lot more left to be desired. I mean, as we all know, right, they fired their designer and the guy that was in charge of that. So it's just like anything, so the collateral damage at Apple, you know what I mean? That's just the way it is, It's something that, unfortunately in companies like that, when something goes wrong like this, somebody's got to take the blame, and unfortunately chooses the guy that's in charge of the project, even if it really wasn't his fault. So, well, I guess at this point, we'll go ahead and we'll, the other thing I wanted to talk about, by the way, too, is, those of you that didn't know, the CEO of, Hulu left. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. Hulu kind of figured he was going to leave. Hulu is on shaky ground right now, so we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, he's gone. So I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing for for that company. I personally think I really don't know. They're kind of on Hulu's kind of stagnant right now, I guess, as far as you can say. But anyway, like I always wanted to say, I want to talk about our sponsor, Audible, Audible.com. It's great, great company, and they were just actually bought up by Amazon just recently. And if you like to listen to great audiobooks, they're the company to go with. Fabulous product. I really like their product. It's a really great. I like how you can listen to audiobooks, and you could. I know myself. I just purchased one just recently. I've actually been on this reading trend the last couple of weeks. And I've been listening to some of them too when I'm at the gym or when I'm driving or something like that. You can listen to pretty much any of the best sellers, and they're just fantastic. I know myself. I've been working on. Chris Hardwick, if those of you that don't know him, he owns Nerdish.com. He's actually, we've talked to him a few times in the past, and as well as, of course, he also does the AMC's Talking Dead. It's the show after Walking Dead. I'm reading his book right now on Audible, and as well as I'm actually right now working on World War Z. Actually, I'm not really a huge fiction person, but I've kind of come to enjoy that, so I'm actually working on that right now on Audible. It's a great service, listen to audiobooks on your phone, your Android devices, Kindle. Obviously Kindle because it's Amazon's product, but you can listen to it on your Kindle. You can listen to it on your iPhone, iPad, iPod, any of your Droid device, anything. I mean, they have an app for all platforms, and it's a really wonderful product. I mean, I like to listen to it myself when I'm at the gym, or when I'm doing things and I just want something to listen to and entertain me, especially when on a long drive or something like that. Especially since I do so much traveling, it's nice to actually have something you can listen to like that. So it's audible.com, and if you go on our site, click through, we get the credit for it, and you can listen to the best. Listen to your business bestsellers for only $7.49 a month. It's pretty cheap right now. So go ahead and click through that. We get the credit for it if you purchase it. And it's really a wonderful, wonderful service. And the other service is 25% off off of Roku's, the refurbished Roku's anyway. They're a great service as well. We have one here. There's a channel for almost anything: Spotify, Amazon, Facebook, Netflix, obviously. It's really a great product for watching streaming media over the wireless. I love it. We have one on our television, and it's really a great product. So that's Roku. That's another one of our sponsors. We appreciate that. And also, too, if you want to, I'd like to also call out to, our website, www.aacrstore.com. All of our eBay products you can purchase online. We've got a lot of stuff for sale right now, a lot of great things. I just wanted to point that out again, our eBay store, aacrstore.com. You can find all our eBay products on there. We have tons of different things, and you feel free to buy anything. We have a lot of free shipping on some home decor items and stuff like that, so feel free to check out our stuff, aacrstore.com. And I just want to say one thing too. Getting back to the podcast here. I do apologize, but we do have to plug the sponsors and plug our sites. We do have to make some money, pay the bills, so we can do wonderful stuff like this for you. But I also too wanted to bring up the as far as tech goes. We do have a question and answer thing where people tweet us questions and we answer them. And I actually do have them in front of me right now. And if you do have any questions, either way, feel free to contact us at Lapani Tech on Twitter. We'll answer any questions we have as best as we can and as quickly as we can. We're mostly trying to answer them on the podcast, though, because the listeners obviously ask us stuff. So, but I have a list of questions here. I try to answer every question I can, ladies and gentlemen, but unfortunately I can't answer every question on the podcast. But I will answer any questions you tweet me, on a private tweet or I will tweet you back if you ask a question. But unfortunately, I can't answer all of them on the podcast. We just don't have that type of time. But I will do, I will answer almost any questions you have if you tweet me. Also, too, you can ask me a question on our blog, allamericancomputerrepair.com/blog. But we do our best to try to answer all questions. But unfortunately, we can't answer them all on the podcast. I wish we could. And I know I do have some people, by the way, Skyping me. If you're interested in that, by the way, you can Skype us. Same thing at Lapani Tech. And we'll get back to you. Skype or Twitter are the preferred way. I try to answer as many questions as I can from. I try to watch the blog, but I get so many emails with the business that sometimes I get lost in the shuffle. So I think the best way to get hold of me would be Twitter or Skype. But again, you can read all of our posts, not just our podcast, at allamericancomputerrepair.com/blog. Let's see. The first question we have is from. By the way, folks, I don't have the Twitter names that go with these. Unfortunately, I don't, but I do have the question. So. You know who you are if you ask the question. I'll try to, from now on, try to get the names with these. But I have a computer, and I'm looking for a backup solution for my computer. That's quite good. That's actually kind of an easy question. There are a lot of solutions out there for backup nowadays, especially for the home user and stuff like that. If you have a Mac or any machine, you can use a service called Carbonite, carbonite.com. They're a good one. They're actually really good. We actually are trying to get them as a sponsor right now for the podcast. We're actually working on that. I got to get back to that. Actually, trying to get them as sponsors. But the other thing too is external hard drive is one thing. AirDrop is another thing. If you have a Mac, there's a lot of solutions. There's also a product, if I'm mistaken. Let me just Google it here right now. I believe it's called Crash Dump. Yeah, I believe it's a product. Yeah, there's another one I believe called Crash. I'm trying to see. No, it's not a Crash Dump. But there was a product called Crash Dump. It doesn't seem to be up anymore. That's the whole problem with .coms. Some of them, the smaller ones especially, go. It's just like anything else. When you have the .com industry, things are, sometimes websites are there one day and they're not there another day. So that's kind of the problem. But there was a site called Crash Dump, but it's not there. But I would recommend probably Carbonite. No, Carbonite's a big one. I know actually SiriusXM, I know actually the Howard Stern Show and Opie and Anthony, they actually use it actually in their studio. They've actually promoted the product on the radio, and they've actually admitted it's actually using the product in the studio. So I think that's kind of cool. I had to get a big sponsor like that, but I would recommend Carbonite. It's really good too because the other thing I like about the product is you can actually I'm doing like a commercial here. Somebody needs to pay me, but no. One of the things is with Carbonite, you can actually use it for like shadow copy as well. I know obviously Windows has shadow copy built in, but you can actually use if you delete a file and you want it back, you just go back into your snapshots. And you can set it to back up at night and stuff like that, and it will every time you change, or you can set it to every time you change something, it automatically gets updated on the Carbonite server. So there's a lot of things you can do with it. But like I said, it's Carbonite.com. They're a great backup solution. If you don't want to spend, $50 a year, because that's what Carbonite charges, and you can get an external hard drive, back your stuff up, and keep it in like a fireproof safe or something. That's another option if you wanted to do that. Like I said, airtime if you have a Mac. The other thing I notice a lot of people do, a lot of people only care about their documents. I know what a couple customers of mine actually do is we actually use Google Drive. I mean, all they're worried about is really their documents. So you use Google Drive, you save all your documents up on the drive, and if you ever fire something, that all your documents are up on the drive, up on the cloud. But again, the other thing good about that is you can access it from your Droid, your iPhone, all that stuff. So Google Drive is another option for you if if you're looking for a backup solution. And that's another option as well. The other question we had here is, I guess, they said, she's done a lot with your podcast recently. We're looking for microphone solutions ourselves. Great, answering an audio question on a day we're having audio problems. Isn't that lovely? One of the things you could do with that, if you wanted to, what I would recommend is, there's a USB microphone. There's so many different ones. You have USB mics that you can purchase, and you can use those. That's an option if you wanted. If you already have a microphone, you can get a USB cable for that actual microphone. There's a lot of options you can use with microphone solutions. Stay away from the headsets. Try to get a regular microphone. Spend, the $15-20 bucks. They go like $15-20 all the way up to, $100, $200. But, I mean, you get somewhere in the $50 to $100 range. It should be good. So, that's something that I would recommend if that's what you're interested in. I do apologize for the audio quality. We're going to work on that.